So I missed a gardening week video last week, unfortunately. Really not a bit of gardening got done. It was all the Christmas celebrations and New Year celebrations and all that sort of thing. We've been travelling and yeah, we had a great time. Hope everybody else had a great Christmas. So I'm back gardening though, and pretty busy at the moment. And a lot of what I'm doing obviously is planning for this year. But I'm also doing some sowing and harvesting, stuff like that. So on Sunday, I did quite a bit of harvesting. We saw quite a lot of greens and other veggies in the fridge, but I needed a batch of salads. So I picked, I don't know, 10 boxes, big boxes of salad. And I picked them from the grow lights behind me, and I was really pleased with the selection that I got. Those grow lights are really delivering for me on the salads, and the radishes were fantastic as well. And I also picked quite a lot of greens from the garden, so a lot of salad onions and miner's lettuce and lamb's lettuce. And it's really nice to have that kind of mix of indoor grown and outdoor grown stuff, because you can grow a lot of greens for salads outside as well as cooking greens in winter. And I had a few comments, I think, actually on one of the previous videos about, oh, it's okay for you with a polytunnel and growing indoors and all that sort of thing, but kind of us mere mortals, we have to grow outside. Well, I grow loads of stuff outside. You know, anything that I can reasonably grow outside, I do. And so I have a pretty good perspective in terms of what's achievable inside and outside, and hopefully everything like that is reflected in my book as well. So I made a video about my salad growing experience under grow lights, and I've drawn quite a lot of conclusions, but the summary conclusion is it's worked really great for me. It's no incremental cost really, apart from the cost of electricity, because I've got the grow lights anyway. They're just sitting idle. And so I've just made use of them. I want them on anyway because of my seasonal effectiveness disorder, and they've really helped with that. In fact, since I mentioned that a few videos back, I've had quite a lot of comments, but from my own personal experience, I think I've pretty much managed to either adjust to the lower light levels or mitigate the problems of the lower light levels just by making sure that I'm getting as much daylight as early in the morning as possible. And I don't seem to have had any problems since then. So the other thing that I did was sowed a lot of seeds. So as per plan, I wanted to get all of my early kales in. I also started some early red cabbages. And early kales are a pretty important crop to me because we pretty much eat kale all the way through the year. And we like a nice range of brassicas every month of the year, basically. And the problem is with, you know, because we're quite dependent on kale for 2 or 3 of those varieties out of probably 8 that we grow, but they kind of run out of steam in May and June. And so in order to have replacement crops for that time, I really need to start them about now. And so hopefully by the end of April, they will be available. And that also allows me to clear some of my overwintered kale beds and get those replanted with summer crops. So yeah, I was pleased to get those done. Also just got one small batch of lettuces sown as well, spring varieties, and they'll just fill in any gaps that kind of appear in the polytunnel. And I did some turnips and I did some radishes, but right now we're mostly eating the radishes from under the grow lights. So that's been a nice bonus really to have those in winter, because we don't normally have those. We normally have oca instead. And I also started some potatoes, and those are for early baking potatoes. So I did a video all about those sowing, so I won't go into it too much now. So what I also did, because I'm actually not very well again, so after 3 weeks of a cold, well, it started off with a cough and then it became a cold. And I kind of finally got over that over the Christmas period, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm finally like fully back to form. And that night, I got a sore throat, and I've still got it now. It's quite swollen. I was just like, oh, what is happening? I just can't believe it. I still haven't had COVID after all this time. But anyway, I've certainly had my fair share of sore throats and coughs and colds. And so I thought completely forgotten what I was talking about. Oh yeah. So one of my viewers said, Steve, have you got an Amazon store? And I thought, wow, I don't even know what an Amazon store is. Obviously I shop a lot on Amazon, but never thought of having a store. Anyway, I found out that I do qualify for a store, and I thought it'd be pretty useful actually, because loads and loads of people are always asking me, it's like the most frequent question, where do you get X from? You know, whether it's compost or module trays or seeds or whatever it is. And since I get a lot of those from Amazon, or I can find the same products on Amazon, I have built a nice little store for you. And it's pretty comprehensive, and it will get ever more comprehensive because I really like the idea of it. I just want to point out one important thing. Amazon is not always the best place to buy things, and I get loads of stuff from other places other than Amazon. So where that's the case, if I can find the product on Amazon, I've put it in the store, but I've put a comment, and you can find that in the top right on the entry in the store. I put a comment on there that says, like, don't buy this from Amazon, buy it from LS Systems, for example, which is where I get my compost from. And that would be the same for example, I put the wood that I use for making my coal frames and things like that, and I put that on there, but it's ridiculously expensive by comparison with your local wood shop. So again, I put a little note on there just in case people think that I actually buy it and think it's a good idea to buy it from Amazon. But it is just a nice way to get a kind of comprehensive listing of everything all together in one place. So I'm pretty pleased with the idea. Now, actually, 80-90% of the stuff I think is actually reasonably well priced on Amazon. So yeah, the store should be pretty useful if you wanted to buy anything. Although I'm not encouraging you to do that, because obviously I get paid for that, and I don't want there to be any kind of motivation on my part to make money out of this, out of you buying stuff on Amazon. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to get out and do any hikes over the last few days, but we're hiking earlier on at the end of last week down south with my eldest daughter and her husband. That was really nice, and since I've been back, as I say, because I'm not very well, I've just been walking the beach. And so I put a few photos up actually, because it's not very often you see our beach with the tide in, with the sea in. Our beach goes out for about a mile, and you know, it's pretty, I don't know how many days a month it happens, but it's probably only 2 or 3 days a month that the tide is actually high enough for the sea to come all the way into the sea defences. And I absolutely love it. So yeah, there's a few photos for you. So it's a very cold Tuesday on the plot, and I'm here planting trees. And I've got 2 trees to put on my plot. I'm going to put one here and one further down there. And this one is a Concord pear, and I absolutely love them. They're so much better than conferences. And these trees are really cheap. We got 5 trees for, I don't know exactly how much, but like £30 or something. I'll put the actual price up and where I got them from, and they look pretty good. So when I do trees, I don't put any fertiliser in the hole, so I'm trying to make sure that the tree roots don't recognise any difference between the surrounding soil and the soil that they're getting planted in. I just put fertiliser at the top so that it sort of just works its way down into the ground over time. I've heard, although I'm no expert at planting trees, that if you put lots of compost in the actual hole itself, then the tree roots tend to sort of stay in the region of the hole and don't spread out as much looking for new nutrients. So that's what I'm doing. I've got all these layers of landscape fabric because this area down here is absolutely infested with mare's tail. Of course you can't see it right now, but this plot next to me is normally covered in mare's tail, so this kind of acts as a little bit of a barrier. And just sprinkled the hole with a little bit of mycorrhizal fungi. Whether that will work very well at this time of year I'm not sure, because it's basically not going to really start growing until spring, but anyway, we'll see. And there's my second little tree. So that one is a Royal Gala. So I've got quite a lot of trees now. So I've got 3 trees down here: pear, apple, and I've got another 3 trees in this strawberry bed here, and that is apple, cherry, apple. So that's 6. And I've got a cherry, a pear, a plum, and 2 apples here. So that is 11 trees in total, and I keep on increasing them bit by bit as we gradually grow more and more perennials on both of the allotments. And Debbie's got a lot of trees on hers too. So Debbie's got 9, so we've got 20 trees in total. Really nice mix of varieties. And I'm kind of tempted to put some more trees in down here, but for now we're happy for this to be an annual bed. So I've also just brought in about half of my early strawberries into the polytunnel, and they will fairly soon go up here, hung from the crop bars. And I'm leaving the other half because I've got all these hanging baskets full of lettuce, and so I think I'll be eating these through January, and so I'll put the other half up in here in February, and hopefully that'll give me a bit of a staggered ripening time for the strawberries, because I don't really want all of these hanging baskets coming ready at the same time, because I've got quite a lot of them. And I thought I'd also just have a quick look at my second early strawberries, and they look like they need a bit of a tidy up. They are not looking great, and these are actually interplanted with garlic, although there's only a couple of those garlic come up so far. I don't worry about garlic not coming up, it always comes up eventually. Kind of feel like I should clean this up now. That looks so much better, and while I was just clearing those up I did notice that loads of the garlic is coming up. I also noticed I've actually got mare's tail starting to regrow. It's been that mild, although we did have a frost last night and we'll probably have one tonight as well, so that should knock it back. I have left quite a few runners in around the edges of the bed, and those are the second year runners that I'll use for my hanging baskets next year. So before I go, I'm going to clean up these spring cabbages, and I'm going to get that old parsnip patch cleaned up, ready for my next batch of spring cabbages to go in. There's those spring cabbages, looking okay, apart from that one at the back there. I don't know quite what's going on with that. So there we go. Now this bed has actually had parsnips in it for a few years running now, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll take this low tunnel and this space and move it over here, and I'll grow peppers in this bed, and that will allow me to grow parsnips in one of these other beds down here where I've previously grown peppers, and I think that should work pretty well. It should allow me to start my parsnips a bit earlier, because these spring cabbages won't all be cleared until May, and that is slightly late. I'd rather start my parsnips just a little bit earlier than that, although they do grow fine from May, but why not? So when I put my spring cabbages out here, since they've not been hardened off and who knows what the weather's going to hold for them, I will just cover them with a bit of fleece, but we've definitely got some wild weather coming over the next week, so I'll hold off for a few weeks before I put them out. So just as I was about to leave my plot, I noticed these, and a bit strange really. This looks almost as though it's perished. So anyway, I'm going to get some polytunnel repair tape on these because we've got gales tonight. All fixed, not too bad. So it's Wednesday, and it's another perfect day for hiking, so there's going to be no gardening done today. Absolutely brilliant. So it's Thursday, we've got some bad weather coming, although we had the most amazing sunrise this morning, which I managed to get a photo of from the cafe window. And so I just popped down to the plot just to close up the beds. So I'm up putting them onto their lowest venting setting because the wind's from the south, which will be blowing into the beds. So give them the maximum protection that I can. We actually had a pretty bad frost here as well, so it was -3 last night and quite a wind chill because it's pretty windy. And strangely, at home, which is only a mile away from here, there was no frost at all. So it's Sunday, and I just wanted to say that actually when I first wake up every morning, first thing I do is check on my seedlings and how they're growing. And I was really pleased today when I looked, and almost everything that I sowed earlier on in the week now has germinated. And all the little lettuces and all those little brassicas that I sowed, all poking their heads up, looking really healthy. I don't know, it's just something about seeing seedlings growing just lifts my spirits. So anyway, I'm now down on the allotment and it's raining and I'm in the polytunnel and my hands are freezing because I've just been cleaning carrots and harvesting ochre and all that sort of thing. That's one of the things I love about this polytunnel. It's the big change really, I think, that happened for me on the allotment. Before we had this polytunnel, I still pretty much grew the same amount of stuff that I grow now, but I grew it with a lot less personal comfort. And that is what this polytunnel has delivered. It's a great growing environment, and when the weather's not very good, I've got a little bit of everything in here that I can harvest and not have to go outside. And when I need to shelter, I've got somewhere to come that's out of the wind and the rain. And it's, you know, it's just made a massive difference. And I often go walking in the area where the allotment is, and again, it's just really nice if I get caught out in the rain, just to be able to pop into the allotment at the sort of halfway point and shelter. So anyway, I'm going to get on with the harvest. I'll see you later. So just finished prepping the harvest, and it's not looking bad. We're almost at midwinter now, and so it'll be interesting to see how we do actually next week in midwinter. I think I'll do a proper harvest video showing you the actual picking and the actual plants and the health of the plants, because although the harvest table looks pretty good, the health of the plants, some of them is not so great. Anyway, I'll just quickly skim you through. So we've got some little potatoes, big potatoes, some really nice purple sprouting broccoli now, colettes, field bean tops, red and green Brussels sprouts. And then from the store, we've got some nice beetroot, onions, shallots, garlic. We've got some parsley, some yellow ochre, some turnips. I just realised I've got parsnips in the ground still, but I won't pick those this week now. Some really nice carrots, so very pleased with those. Plenty still to come of those. And then we've got all the different brassica greens, mostly kale. So we've got kale, curly kale, perennial kales, colette leaves, Brussels sprout leaves, Carvalho Nero, some more red Brussels sprout leaves, baby leeks. We do love our baby leeks. And we've got spinach, pak choy and tatsoi, winter squash from the store, lamb's lettuce, miner's lettuce, so these are all salad ingredients now, salad onions, salad onion tops, radishes, more ochre tubers to go in the salads, and then just the salad bases. So I'll be making those salads up in a minute, and they should look a lot nicer than just those green tubs there. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased. It's always gratifying to manage to fill the table at this time of year and still not overpick things. So we've still got plenty still to come for the rest of winter and spring. So hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.